Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with a report on Jerry the King Lawler, who suffered a stroke Monday afternoon at his home in Fort Myers, Florida. Lawler, age 73, received emergency surgery and is recovering at a Florida hospital, according to WMC TV in Memphis. As of this report, nothing has been publicly confirmed by Lawler's family or by WWE, but word began to spread yesterday online after longtime friend and colleague Ricky Morton was the first to wish Lawler well on Twitter. Lawler was discovered in the parking lot of his home, according to a report yesterday from Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, with a source close to Lawler claiming a blood blockage to the brain was the cause, and further indicating that Lawler's speech was impaired and he'd lost feeling on the right side of his body. Another longtime friend and colleague, Dutch Mantell, reported on Twitter after speaking to Lawler's son Kevin that the paralysis was subsiding and his father was expected to recover. The Memphis wrestling legend and veteran WWE announcer had been out earlier that day having lunch with friends prior to the episode, according to a report from PW Insider. Lawler previously suffered a stroke in 2018 and in 2012 went into cardiac arrest on live television while calling the action on Monday Night Raw. In ratings news, viewership of Monday Night Raw fell below 2 million this week, with an average of 1.866 million tuning into the USA Network, according to Showbuzz Daily. That's a drop of nearly 12% from last week's 2.114 million. In the hourly breakdown, Hour 1 brought in 1.968 million viewers, which fell to 1.881 for Hour 2, and further to 1.75 million for Hour 3, a total loss of 218,000 over the course of the show. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was 0.55, representing 720,000 viewers, a 14% drop from last week's 0.64 key demo rating, according to WrestleNomics. Despite the drop, Raw nevertheless once again ranked number 1 for the night on cable TV in the key demographic. Viewership for this week's episode was up nearly 35% from the same week last year and up 53% in the key demographic. In more WWE news, the 2023 edition of SummerSlam will be presented on August 5th at Ford Field in Detroit, according to an official announcement yesterday. Said Detroit Sports Commission Executive Director Dave Beachnow, quote, "Landing WWE SummerSlam at Ford Field is a signature win for Detroit and continues the momentum of the Detroit Sports Commission in attracting major sporting events to the region. Metro Detroit enjoys a special place in WWE history and has produced many iconic moments. This will be the first SummerSlam held in the Detroit area since 1993, when SummerSlam was held at the Palace at Auburn Hills and headlined by Yokozuna and Lex Luger. Ford Field was previously the site of WrestleMania 23 in 2007, which set the all-time attendance record for wrestling in Detroit." Independent wrestler Jason Cade has been brought in by WWE as a producer for women's matches, according to a report from Fightful Select. Cade was at last Monday Night's Raw and produced the Indy Hartwell-Dana Brooke match that was taped for WWE Main Event. Cade also reportedly assisted Tyson Kidd in producing the Women's Royal Rumble match. It was Kidd who originally recommended Cade for the job. It's not known if Cade's employment is on a trial basis or if he's been brought in permanently. NXT was broadcast live last night on the USA Network from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. The final segment of the show saw the end of Toxic Attraction as Jacy Jayne turned on Gigi Dolan, hitting her with a super kick during an interview on Bayley's Ding Dong Hello talk show. Ilya Dragunov returned to NXT TV for the first time since he was laid out by JD McDonough last October. Dragunov interfered in McDonough's match last night with Carmelo Hayes, causing him to lose.
Booker! Nazar! Bam! Is back! Oh, McDonough sees what's happening. Don't get countered.
Oh, he got caught. He got
Hayes got him. Hayes got him.
Here is your winner, Carmelo Hayes.
Hit. McDonough. It was McDonough who put Ilya Dragunov on the shelf. And McDonough getting out of here. Look at Dragunov through the NXT universe.
Grayson Lawler confronted Shawn Michaels during the show, leading to the Senior Vice President of Talent Development Creative to suspend Lawler for a week in storyline. Dabba-Kato, previously known as Commander Aziz, had his first televised NXT match in nearly 3 years, scoring a quick win over Dante Chen. In other results, Isla Dawn pinned Tatum Paxley, Channing Stacks Lorenzo beat Odyssey Jones, Pretty Deadly defeated Chase U, Zoe Stark upended Sol Ruka, and Lyra Valkyria pinned Valentina Feroz. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.